Good morning, Algebra 1 CP. This is Mr. Langston, your host in this exciting adventure of Order of Operations. So first thing we got is our warm-up for our class. And what we have here is -5 times -5 minus a -6. Now, the way I taught you guys to think about it whenever there's addition and subtraction of integers is to think about my favorite thing in life, which is money, money, money. So what I'm talking about is negative numbers. That means you owe money. Ooh, let's actually change the way it does this, because I'm sorry, this black, that ain't working for me. So we need a different color. Let's switch it to blue. Okay, so -5 means you owe money. -6 also means you owe money. So the way I explained it to class is if you owe money and then you call up the credit card company and you owe $5, you call up the credit card company and you're like, credit card company, I got jacked. They took all my money. I don't know what happened. I can't pay. Well, the credit card company says, hey, you know what, Mr. Langston, you've been a great customer for the last 2 years. What I will do is I will subtract some money that you owe. In fact, you owe $5. I am going to subtract $6 that you owe. Well, if you take owing money and you're subtracting owing money, what's really happening is the credit card company, they're giving you money. So instead, what's going on is you owe money, but subtracting owing money, that's the same as giving you money. So they're giving you money. So if you owe $5 and you have $6, what happens? Well, at the end of the day, when you reconcile that debt, you end up with $1 in your pocket. Yep, $1. So, looking at this, 48 divided by -6. Well, you already know what 48 divided by 6, that should be easy. The answer is 8. But a positive number divided by a negative number, that gives you a negative number following our rules of multiplication. I have -7 times a -4. Well, 7 times 4, that's 28. And all you have to do is figure out my answer positive or negative. Negative times a negative is a positive. Same thing here for the subtraction, same as the first one. Another way I taught them is if you got 2 vampire steaks, you can cross the stakes and you can be all like, back, you evil vampire. So for instance, I've got a vampire steak here, I got a vampire steak here. 2 steaks, you cross the stakes. So I got -10 plus 3. I owe $10. I got $3 at the end of the day. I still owe $7. -4 plus a -2. I owe money and I owe money. So when I bring those two debts together, I still owe money. In this case, I owe $6. And what's next? So we got -36 divided by -4. So 36 divided by 4, not a problem. You should know that's 9. And negative divided by a negative, well, that's going to be a positive 9. Or I can just say 9. -5 to the third power. I taught you guys this. In this case, the power affects everything inside the negative. So if I expand this out, I've got -5 times -5 times -5. The power affects everything. So -5 times -5, that's a positive 25. And multiply that by -5, -125. Now here's the kicker. I got negative 2 to the 4th power. This power of 4 can only affect the number. That's all it gets to affect is the number. If I want it to affect the power, I've got to put everything in parentheses. Once I do that, it affects the, If I want it to affect the negative, I have to put everything in parentheses. It does not affect the negative unless it's in parentheses. So in this case, if I expand it out, this negative just goes right there. And now I do 2 to the 4th, or 4 2's. Again, the power does not affect the negative. The only way it does is if you put the negative in a parenthesis. And now you expand this. Or sorry, not expand it, evaluate it. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 16. And bring down that negative. So it's negative 16. There you go. I've cleansed the daemon. So, like I said before, we're going to be covering order of operations, PEMDAS. The way I learned it was this. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And it's the order of operations for evaluating any expression. So it's an acronym. It stands for certain things. The P stands for parentheses, the E for exponents, the M for multiplication, D for division, A for addition, S for subtraction. Now, what I want you to know, and what they don't show you, is I like to write it this way, with the M and the D, one on top of the other, and the A and the S, one on top of the other. And the reason I do that is because the MD, that's its own step. Same thing with AS, it's its own step. This MD and this AS, they're kind of together. And we're going to talk more about that later. But this is a great way of remembering it. Have the M over the D and the A over the S, because that shows that it's one step. Otherwise, when you're reading PEMDAS, you're thinking multiplication first, then I do division. No, that's not the case. We'll talk more later. So starting with the P. P stands for parentheses. It's the first order of operations that gets performed. Inside the parentheses, you apply the order of operations again from the beginning, because sometimes they have something really complicated inside the parentheses. So sometimes they've got, like, you'll have your order of operations here, and let's say plus, I don't know, negative 6 divided by 3, something like that. And inside you'll have 2 plus 4 minus 3 squared divided by, let's say, 3. Well, inside the parentheses, you've got to apply the order of operations all over again. You got to make sure you're following your order of operations inside the parentheses. So like the first step would be, hey, do the parentheses. And then you got to be all like, well, I got another thing. I got to redo order of operations. So I got to do the parentheses again. So one thing to understand is parentheses always gets evaluated first. Next thing I've got is I've got exponent or powers. I got the power. So they get evaluated after parentheses and before any other arithmetic operation. And again, I can't stress enough, I'm always marking people down for this. You got negative 4 to the 3rd power. This power only affects the number to the left of it. It does not affect the negative. You want it to affect the negative? Put your negative in parentheses and then the power. Now the power affects everything. So for this, I expand it out. It becomes negative 4 times 4 times 4, because I got 3 4s. This negative goes right there. So that becomes negative 64. This one over here, when I expand it out, because the negative is inside the parentheses, it becomes negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. So when I evaluate the whole thing, I end up with 16. Now, the next, remember I told you multiplication and division are together. When I wrote PEMDAS, I wrote it like this. Multiplication and division are together. And what that means is multiplication doesn't come before division. What you do is you look at everything from the left side to the right side. So from the left side all the way to the right side, and the first one you see, multiplication or division, that's what you do. So I've got this example right here, 9 divided by 3 times 3. I'm going to rewrite it. 9 divided by 3 times 3. So I scan it from left to right. First thing I see is division. I do that first. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now I multiply it by 3. 3 times 3, 9. That's the right answer. Let me show you a wrong way of doing it, because people do this all the time. Can't tell you how often I'm hosing people down on their tests for this. Don't make this mistake. People are like, okay, I'll look, multiplication comes first. Hey, I got a 3 times 3. I'm going to do that. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 divided by 9? Well, what do you know? I get the answer of wrong, and I'm like, wrong? Sorry. You get the answer of 1, and I'm like, wrong. It ain't 1. The answer's 9. So understand, you do multiplication or division, the first one you see from left to right. Okay? Left to right. And you got to remember that. Same thing with addition and subtraction. They're also observed together. It's just like multiplication and division. Whichever one you see, looking from left to right. Because the way it would really be helpful to write your order of operations is like that. First one you see from left to right. So let's do this one. 9 minus 5 plus 4. Looking at everything, the first thing I see from left to right, boom, right there, 9 minus 5. And now, 4 plus 4? Ocho. So the wrong way of doing it. Is people sit there and they're like, okay, I'll take 5 plus 4. Ah, that's a 9. 9 minus 9. Ooh, that's a 0. Yeah. And I'm like, because that's the number of points you're getting. 0. Because it's wrong. Don't be that person. So we got some examples. Let's go through it. First thing I want you guys to do, write your order of operations. PEMDAS. Okay? And now I'm just going to follow it. I'm on the P. Anything in parentheses, I see 6 plus 3, fine. That's 9. And everything else, I'll rewrite because I'm going to do one step at a time. Well, there's really nothing I can do inside of parentheses anymore. So I'm going to be all like, done with the P's. Let's try the E's. Exponents. Well, I got an exponent right here, 3 squared. So that's going to be, and remember, the square only affects the 3. It doesn't affect the negative. So that just becomes 9. And I'm going to put everything else. And you don't have to keep these parentheses here. You can get rid of them, but I just keep them. I don't know why. Well, I'm done with exponents. Done. Now I'm going to look for multiplication or division from left to right. First one I see. Well, I got this right here. 18 divided by 9. Well, that's 2. And now, put everything else. I don't see any more multiplication or division, so I guess I'm done with that. So last one, addition and subtraction. First one I see from left to right, right here, addition, 2 plus 2. Four minus 9. Well, 4 minus 9, -5. And there you go. So, next problem. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Going to put my order of operations, PEMDAS, right there. And I'm going to start evaluating. Parentheses. Ooh, I got 2 parentheses. So I've got 6 minus 3. That's 3. I got 2 times 3. That's 6. And I'm going to put everything else. And that was in parentheses. So we'll just say in parentheses here. Plus 6. Plus 3 squared. And I accidentally swiped my screen. So let's clean that up. All right. Well, I'm done with that. And I can keep the parentheses if I want. So nothing else to do inside of parentheses. So let's go for exponents. All right, cool. So I got my exponent here, 3 squared, and that is 9. And everything else is the same. I'm writing every step. It's a good thing to do. Get in that habit. No more exponents. Done. Switch to multiplication or division. First one I see from left to right, I got it right here. This 5 next to the 3 in parentheses, that's multiplication. So 5 times 3. Mr. Langston, what is that? Well, it's 15. That's what it is. And then everything else is the same. Plus 6, plus 9. No more multiplication or division. I can't see any more, so get rid of that. And now I'm on last step, addition or subtraction. First one I see from left to right is right here. 15 plus 6, 21. Plus 9. 21 plus 9. That's 30. I've cleansed the demon. So your answer is 30. Last one I got here. Ooh, a fraction. Here's the thing. This fraction right here, this separation, do the top, do the bottom, and then do that division if you have to last. Okay, because this bar means division. But what you need to understand is everything above and everything below needs to be simplified first. And then I can do this last. Or I can leave it as a fraction. It depends on what it's asking. I don't know. We'll find out. So let's take care of things. I got to write my order of operations. Got my PEMDAS. And now, first thing I'm going to do for the top, I'm going to look for parentheses. For the bottom, I'm going to look for parentheses. Well, I don't have any parentheses on the bottom, but I've got a parentheses at the top, right here. So I'm going to evaluate that. 4 plus 11, that's 15. And I don't change anything else. So I'm going to rewrite it all. Next thing, I'm done with parentheses. I'm on exponents. So let's look for exponents. I've got some exponents at the top. I've got 8 squared. All right, cool. That's 64. I got exponents at the bottom. Cool. So I got 4 squared, 16, 3 squared, 9. So it's 16 minus 9 there at the bottom. No more exponents. Done. Now what I'm going to look for is multiplication and division. Nope. Remember, I'm doing this last. Okay, so no multiplication or division. Done with that. So I'm on addition and subtraction. So 64 minus 15. All right. Well, that's 49. And 16 minus 9. That's 7. Now you simplify your fraction. 49 over 7, well, that simplifies just to the answer of 7. 7 goes into 49 7 times. Done. All right, the last thing you guys got to do in your haiku website, in your own words, you are going to describe the order of operations. You're getting points for this. You're getting graded. Do it. Be sure that you clearly describe all the steps in the order of operations, what they mean, and what you do with them. Write your answer in the discussion. You just click Add New Post. That will add a new post, and you'll just write your answer right there. I will check it out. I'll grade it. You'll get the points, and it sounds good. Don't do it. Don't get the points. It's the way it rolls. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this time. I hope you understand it. If you don't, let me know. Come back into the class and just be like, Mr. Langston, can you explain it? Of course I'll explain it. Not a problem. It doesn't bother me. It's my job. But if you're okay with this, then all right, keep it going. Move on. Do your homework, by the way. Do your homework. All right. Have a nice day, you guys. Thank you very much for your time. Peace.